Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you all for tuning in to today's Life After Her podcast with yours truly, Nicole and Sweeney. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode number 20 entitled No Answer. Before I go into today's podcast episode, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in with me for 20 weeks, y'all. 20 weeks. You guys have been with me for that long. And I do appreciate you guys tuning in, listening, and following the story of Journey. Now, if you have not checked out last week's episode entitled Starting from Scratch, episode 19, you want to make sure you go and check it out, because all of this will make sense to you because the story builds on top of each other. So you want to make sure before you listen to today's podcast episode, you want to go back and listen to last week so you know what's going on. Okay? So episode number 20, which is today's episode, is entitled No Answer. Now, you probably can imagine what the chapter is about with No Answer. If not, I'll just tell you anyway. So Papa and Mama Black, Journey and her siblings, they finally found a home. This house was beautiful. It was perfect for their family size. It had a backyard, a washer, and a dryer. And it was a very nice neighborhood for the Black family to move into. So they secured the house. Papa and Mama Black put down a security deposit. They signed the contract. They were ready to go. All they needed was the key to move into their new home. The next day, Papa Black was scheduled to meet up with Mr. Jafari. Mr. Jafari was the gentleman who sold Mama and Papa Black the house. Papa Black was scheduled to meet up with Mr. Jafari at a designated time. And guess what, y'all? Mr. Jafari didn't show up. So Papa Black didn't get too worried after the first 15, 20 minutes. He waited a little time and then he went to the payphone to call Mr. Jafari. Guys, have you ever experienced a situation in your life where something was owed to you, but you didn't get it yet, or there was no answer, whether it was no answer from God or the person that had what you needed or had what was yours? That's exactly how the Black family felt. There was no answer, and guess what? They didn't get what was owed to them. So what happened? Papa Black ends up waiting for Mr. Jafari for 2.5 hours, guys. 2.5 hours. He sat and waited, sat and waited, sat and waited, sat and waited for Mr. Jafari to come, like they agreed to pick up the key for the house so that they can move in. And unfortunately, Mr. Jafari never showed up. Talk about disappointment. The Black family was so disappointed. When Papa Black returned to Grandpa Joseph Sr.'s house, he had to break the news to Mama Black. Of course, Mama Black was highly upset. Not only was she upset, she was hurt, she was disappointed, and she was devastated. So when Mama Black found out, now Papa and Mama Black had to share with Journey and her siblings what happened. I won't give you guys too much information because I want you to go and read the chapter, but the entire Black family was just disappointed. They had high hopes for this new house that they just saw. They were so excited about it. They were very, very happy to be moving in a home finally. And you got to check out the chapter to know what happens next, because I'm not going to tell you guys. So I will give that to you guys. That's it. Today's affirmation for today's episode is there is nothing that can get in the way of God's blessing for you. Let me repeat that again. There is nothing that can get in the way of God's blessing for you. I know there are so many things that you have been waiting for from God, so many things you've been praying about, so many things you have been fasting about, and it still hasn't come yet. I want to encourage you and let you know and remind you that no delay, no person, no enemy, no plot, scheme, or plan or lie can uphold or not only uphold, but delay the blessing God has for you. There is nothing that can delay or remove God's blessing for you. Your blessing will eventually reach you. It may take longer than what you had hoped for, but it is coming. It is coming, y'all. Stay encouraged. I know you've been praying, you've been fasting, you've been waiting, you've been a good steward over what you currently have. You have even seen others around you receive the blessing that you may be desiring. Hello, somebody. Let's be honest, right? And it's not easy all the time, but be encouraged that there is nothing that can get in the way of God's blessing that He has for you. So that is all I will give you for today's podcast episode. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube page and check me out on Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. I look forward to you guys tuning in next week. And until we meet again, remember that God is so, so very proud of you. All right, guys, have a great evening, great day, great afternoon, whatever time you are listening to this podcast episode, and just be blessed and stay encouraged. Remember that God's blessing is coming. All right, guys. Bye-bye.